If you want me, if you need me, I'm yours.
What's up, people? Make sure everything's working alright. Oh man, what a day. So, let's see, from a retailer's perspective in it, because I know there are other streams going on right now. They've got like 15,000 plus views, you know, everyone cares about, you know, the names and what they've got to say. Um, where do I start? Like, I woke up this morning and it turns out, like, I was right. I made a prediction yesterday. I made a short of it as well. Basically, that someone like Arthur Hayes, who's a whale, would potentially come out and sell at 75. He predicted and made public his prediction on the price of Hyperliquid, which was supposed to be 150. And I said yesterday, you know, he normally sells 50% below his prediction, so maybe I should have took that as a sign and closed out my position. I didn't. So he sold and a bunch of other whales sold, and now the price is sort of going down slowly. We can get into that. Also, news that just happened now, maybe in the past hour, Zcash. It's a privacy token if you don't know. There's been an exploit that's been found, or it was found and it was open for like a year, and then it got taken care of. But the exploit allowed someone to print as many tokens as they wanted throughout that period, and because it's a privacy token, there's no way to actually check if anyone has actually printed an infinite amount of these Zcash tokens. There's other things that I've got on today, but like, you know, I think this whole AI thing is just really gonna like mess with crypto in a really bad way, you know. No longer can you get away with like poorly written code, because Mythos apparently is coming out at some point in the near future this summer, and apparently it's like shit hot at finding exploits that people will and can take advantage of when it comes to these on-chain smart contracts. So like, yeah, there's definitely an imminent threat to the whole of the crypto ecosystem when it comes to these things. I mean, it might even be a thing where like everything gets eradicated and there's a new product that comes out that's institutionalized, VC backed, and private, that, you know, the general public will end up having to use, and the crypto as we know it could be dead. So let's get into it. Sorry to start on such a downer. It's just that it's like peak bear market right now, you know. So yeah, we're just gonna go get on with it, right?
Ha ha ha, what a sucker.
Stop that. Sick. There you go. Yeah, sorry about that. Yeah, so yeah, this is the first you know, instance of where I heard about it. It's like a single security researcher with £20 or $20 Claude subscription found an infinite mint exploit on Zcash. So yeah, and you can see from the market's reaction, let's see, everything's red anyway, but like, yeah, it pretty much went 25% down instantly when it came out. So that was like what, an hour ago? Yeah, about an hour ago. Yeah, so like, you know, obviously the people up at the top here at 600, they sort of got caught wind of it first, and yeah, it was just like a constant selling off all the way through the day, to the point where it was down like 25% of the day, which may not seem like a lot. Well, it's a massive sell off. Like, even if we were to look at the monthly on that, it's basically almost a bearish engulfing candle. yeah, that's just taken out a whole month's worth of gains. It could actually do that. So yeah, the privacy meta that was being pushed during the past 6 months by certain individuals seems to be coming to an end. You know, if Zcash can get exploited, there are many a platform, many a token that sort of has the same technology. And yeah, you know, I'm sure there's a bunch of people right now on their Claude desktops or their Claudes are just, yeah, looking for exploits all over the place. So yeah, I feel like nothing is safe right now in terms of crypto. And yeah, it's a bit of a strange one, because how do I put it? It's a bit of a strange one because like normally during a bear market there's sort of like some glimmer of hope, or like, you know, this feeling of like things will get better or things will come back. But with the advent of AI and, you know, self-recursive learning, which is another thing I want to talk about. It's like an article that's just come out. It seems like, yeah, there's next to little to no hope. It's like the AI is really killing the hope for crypto to ever come back in any sort of like capacity that it did before. I think it's done. I think the trade is done, guys. And if I sound like super bearish on it, like, it's probably because I am. Yeah, there's just nothing that I can see that really any sort of like redeeming features of crypto that, you know, would make me want to stick around, or like, you know, put money into and feel like, yeah, you know, potentially this could be something that could be great. Let me just put him back on. Where is he? Where's he gone? Okay, should be there. Just give me a second, guys. Sorry, I'm missing something. Here we go. There he is. Yeah, it just feels like, yeah, it just feels like the end of days. And I mean, to be quite honest, like, you know, you had 10 years to make as much as possible. Some of us done really well, some of us didn't do so well. But you know, the future is looking very bleak from the perspective of smart contracts, because they are buggy. They do have bugs, and there are exploits out there. I'm sure there's hundreds of exploits out there. If anything, it means that, you know, the whole industry is just gonna have to slow down. So new releases, you know, like perhaps someone's broken something, and in a good way, and you know, they want to release it, but they're gonna have to really take their time before they drop it on the public, especially when it comes to money. So a lot of people are speculating, like, you know, the DeFi platforms, for instance, you know, like Aerodrome, like where you can see here, it's just like constantly down only. Like a lot of the DeFi stuff is just like, you know, ripe for exploitation. Uniswap, you know, Uniswap is down at new lows. It's just everything is down. Even meme coins like Legendary Pepe is just down. It's just, yeah, everything. ETH down. Yesterday I was saying, you know, if it broke below this line, it could go to 1,100 or even worse, you know, triple digits. It just doesn't, there's no bounce in sight. Like, everyone is just exiting, and they're waiting to see what happens with AI in terms of, like, you know, what it does to these smart contract platforms. I'm sure there's a lot of like bigger VCs and people holding the bag who are pretty worried about what's coming. So yeah, as I was saying, yeah, so that's happened. I want to get to the, so this morning, let me see if I can bring him up, Arthur Hayes. See if he, yeah. So this morning when I woke up, this guy Arthur Hayes, who I mentioned yesterday, there he is. He says, I just jumped my entire hype and near position. I'll explain why in an SA reality test dropping next Tuesday. So he sold all of his positions, and basically he said, yeah, prediction that Trump goes anti-AI to win midterms for Republicans. I think highs in markets will happen, by the way, now and September. Time to take profit and two-step in BFA without worrying about my position. So yeah, he's going on holiday. So he sold in May, or sold in, like, you know, late June, and he's going to enjoy his summer. So congratulations to him. ENA, you know, he's a strong investor in ENA as well. And yeah, basically ENA pumped 20% yesterday, and as you can see, it's just sort of retraced most of that. So yeah, there's just like a lot of like fuckery going on in these markets. You're dealing with bigger players who have more information than you, and as a retail participant, you're at a severe disadvantage. It's buy and hold season, isn't it? I mean, if you believe in the actual industry, but at the same time, it's a situation of like AI is a major threat to all of it. By the way, this isn't the first time a bug like this was discovered in Zcash. Last time it was disclosed after being a year plus in the wild, and everyone lost faith, and Zcash went to zero for 7 years until they found a new generation of buyers who don't know the history. That's you. Yeah, this is what I'm saying. I'm sure, like, I never touched Zcash, but yeah, I'm sure there was a point where this was well known that, you know, Zcash was infinite. Like, there was like infinite amount of tokens. So I just didn't understand the whole like pump that was happening. And when I don't understand anything like or things, I tend to stay away from them. And it's more than likely that I should probably stay away from crypto too, because it seems like I don't understand that either. I don't know, man. I don't know. Right. So yeah, Arthur Hayes sold, and the reaction from the market is like, right, all right. If Arthur Hayes is selling, we're going to sell too. So we had like a 13 to 15% downward spiral of sales. I mean, what's changed with the asset? What's changed with the narrative? Nothing at all. It's just that one whale has decided that, yeah, it's too risky to hold it at this moment in time. He did sort of slightly hint that he would be back at some point, but you know, that's not why we buy these assets. That's not why we trade these assets. We see a narrative. We believe that, you know, the price will go up at some point, so we buy and we hold, right? Or we trade it up. Man, it's looking bleak, man. I don't know. But like, yeah, there's just no saving grace. Like, even Bitcoin can't catch a bid, and that's like, you know, it's supposed to be the kingpin of it all. But like with quantum coming, and you know, the article that came out from Justin Drake a couple of days ago, just seems like, yeah, price is not going to do anything but either consolidate and go down, or just go into consolidation for a long period of time. Opportunities are minimal. You could try and do the whole, like, you know, like crypto XAI sort of thing, where like, you know, people are trying to spin this narrative of like, yeah, you know, the new narrative will be agents, but I just don't feel like, you know, the companies that are involved and the things that are being built out at the moment are of any benefit to the user. It's more exploitative sort of actions from people to try and gain some sort of, you know, money. You know, you got Base pushing their whole agentic economy sort of deal, using X402, but there's nothing stopping, you know, the bigger proponents in crypto, like or not even in crypto, just in general, like, you know, like MasterCard, Visa, just like having their own agents, you know, their own agent wallets, and just running it that way, and just being like, look, I know you guys want to use USDC, but you're going to have to use it on our rails. So they do control the rails. The Clarity Act is supposed to clear things up, but, you know, once again, that's being fought tooth and nail by the banks, because they don't want private institutions to provide yield to their customers, a better yield, I will add. But, you know, that's how things always start. Like, maybe these private institutions do offer a better yield, but eventually it all boils down to zero when it comes to their customer, because it's all about, you know, satisfying your shareholders, isn't it? What's the next thing? So we've talked about that. We've talked about Arthur Hayes. We've talked about the Zcash exploit. I think that's all I wanted to talk about, really. Like, you know, the market looks like shit. I'm sure there was other things. Let me see. Let me go to my likes, because that's how I normally, you know. I was talking to my missus about this, and she was saying that I need to start making like a board. Like, yeah. Yeah, so they said, like, you know, Gazy Bull posted Zcash at 680 and you bought. Yeah. So here it is. Here's the article. So Zuko is the guy who actually, you know, built out Zcash alongside Eli Bassoon, who's now in charge at Starknet. So you know what that means. I'm not going to go through the whole article, but it's just basically, you know, the Orchard counterfeiting vulnerability and next steps. So like, the vulnerability seems to have happened again. I guess we could go into a few details on it. I'll skim over it. On May 29, 2026, some guy called Mr. Hornby discovered a critical counterfeiting vulnerability in Zcash's Orchard pool. Yeah, and I guess they fixed it in April. Shielded Labs engaged with Taylor Hornby to check it. What we know, what we don't know. The vulnerability was real and exploitable. Taylor, with the help of Opus 4.8, so they used AI to actually read the code, wrote a complete exploit, which, when he tested it in a local reg test environment, generated unlimited, undetectable counterfeit Zeke. So, like, you know, I don't know if anyone's actually taken advantage of this, or if it's actually, you know, something that's happened, but there's no way to prove that it hasn't happened already. So yeah, they're quite could. There could possibly be like 1 billion Zcash out there in the hands of somebody,
And they've been slowly setting into this price action where it was just like explosive for such a we've got a bit of green, people. There's a bit of hope yet. Where this run up here, an Audi just doesn't do it justice. But like, God, where is it? There it is. Yeah, like there was a massive run up. Like this run up here. Let's measure that out. To what? It went up 1,000%, 1,800% in the space of what? From September 2025 till November 2025. So October, November, in 2 months, it went up like almost 2,000%. And if someone had an unlimited supply of Zcash, it's quite possible that they were selling into these buys very cleverly, obviously. But there's no way to prove it because it's a private network. So there's no way to establish. I'm guessing there's no way to establish people's balances. So it's not looking good. The vulnerability has to do with an unconstrained element. Blah blah blah. The vulnerability was present from Orchard's activation in May 2022 until an emergency fix was deployed on June 1st, 2026. So for 4 years, people, if someone was clever enough anyway to look at the code and figure this bug out, they could have possibly been printing for 4 years. So from May 2022, let's have a look at the chart from May 2022. Where is it? June, May 2022. Look at that. So you had, sorry, excuse my language. May 2022. So I'm assuming people knew about it, but apparently, yeah, I read that post just now. Sorry, let me just blow my nose because I know it's annoying. I apologize, guys. Just give me a sec.
Ha ha ha, what a sucker.
Yeah, so possibly it's a... Yeah, sorry about that. I need to figure out how to not have auto start when I change screens. That's another step I need to learn. Yeah, so possibly someone could have been printing Zcash all the way up from May. Which is unlikely, I guess. May 2022 for 4 years. All that time, and then all of a sudden, people started pushing it and the price blew up. But apparently the vulnerability was known about. It's just that everyone forgot. So whoever, someone made out like a bandit. Because it's shielded transactions, man, there are certain people on the timeline who are probably sweating right now because they've been shitting it so hard. They've been pushing Zcash as the privacy token. The whole buying Zcash at 600 is like buying Bitcoin at 600 was the saying that was going on around. So there's a lot of things that to worry about in terms of OPSEC and which is operational security. In terms of the people that were actually talking about it, I'm wondering how much money they actually made, because if they were accumulating down here $50, they made a good bit of change. Or if they're exploiting it, they've had loads all this time. They've just been printing it, man. But there's no evidence of it. And you would expect if the person found out, the clever person who figured it out without AI saw an article along the lines of this, you would assume that they would just basically just dump their full port. Maybe this is them dumping their full port at 25%. Some people don't believe it. They're like, yeah, it's bollocks. But at the same time, they only fixed it this month, literally 4 or 5 days ago. So Zcash, I think, is cooked for now. But where is all that money going to go? That's the question that everyone needs to be asking now. It's either it goes into stable coins, all this value that's been accumulated throughout this period, or it goes to something else. Yeah, you never know. You never know. It might go into hyperliquid. I think, like, even with the news, it was a bit of a strange one with the price action. I'm going to start talking about that. Unless anyone's curious about this, I'll tell you what. Let's fully cover it. Prior exploitation of this orchard vulnerability seems unlikely. First, the vulnerability had evaded years of scrutiny by many of the world's best cryptographers, proving the integrity of the Zcash supply. Our assessment is that the exploitation of this vulnerability was unlikely. Okay. However, we do not believe that users should rely on our assessment or anyone else's. So, Shielded Labs is exploring with the help of many other Zcash developers. We plan to publish a follow-up, accelerating our security work. Conclusion: this was a serious vulnerability, and we believe it's important to be transparent. While no one wants to discover a vulnerability like this, we're confident that Zcash is well positioned to recover. We stand ready to continue to help other Zcash deployment, development groups, and Zcash community as a whole. So, like, yeah, they're saying it's not over. But, until they come out, like, it's going to take a while to prove whether or not, any of this is dodgy, or, like, we're going to have to worry about it. In terms of, like, when I say I'm not a holder, like, there are holders out there that probably are pretty worried about this. It'd be funny if this runs it back up, because there are, like, evangelists for this sort of, like, currency. They believe that is the future. They're like the XRP, the Cardano lot. Who it's like their religion, Zcash. So possibly, like, they won't sell, and they'll just believe that it will get sorted out. It will come out in the wash, as they say. So yeah, going back to hyperliquids, it's a bit of a strange one. Like the price reaction from 75, I'd say, is the top. So it's like a 50% dump based on, like, one or a few individuals selling their stacks. I don't think it's time to panic on this product. Like, I feel like, yeah, even in terms of, like, the fact that price is going down. I was saying it earlier, or maybe yesterday, and I think I said it in the tweet. And I said it after the stream as well. Like, the point about it is like, the only reason why prices aren't sustaining or going up is because people are trading on leverage, and they're trading on leverage on a perp dex that is hyperliquid. So the fees and everything that are going into hyperliquid at the moment, or the money that is being used to trade, before hyperliquid ever existed, or any sort of, like, perp dex exchange existed, people would just buy the token and hold it, and then other people would buy the token and hold it. But that doesn't happen anymore. And, like, from the 2021 cohort, you could see, like, the meme coins that were being traded, it literally just sped up, because the attention span of the participants in that, I'm gonna quote, bull cycle, were very short-sighted, and they didn't believe or care about the technology. They cared about making money, and they cared about flipping coins, and that's a habit that will that they'll carry through until they run out of cash, basically. So they're not buy and holders, in it. So, like, when they see, for instance, like, the Zcash information come out, it is possible to go onto hyperliquid if you're in certain jurisdictions or countries, and just, like, leverage short it with a little bit of money, so you're not actually touching the underlying asset. And that's an issue that the whole industry has to face up to, because at the end of the day, you need people who are going to, or participants who are going to, buy and hold tokens. If you're not going to buy and hold tokens, the price is not going to go up. It'll either go sideways or down. And most of the time, most traders who go into, like, these leverage exchanges, they don't come out winners. You'll see a few, and they're like faceless, like, anime characters, or people who made it prior cycles through buying and holding. They didn't, like, leverage trade up. They might take a portion out for a laugh and do a bit of trading, but by no means are they professional traders. A few are, like, like Mando, for instance. I'll always bring him up because he's kind of a legend. For instance, is, like, someone who trades, or, like, who has traded and understands the game of trading. So it's just a situation of, like, until, like, the mentality of crypto participants changes, and they learn how to buy and hold and believe in something, believe it or not, it's gonna be like a rough ride for them. Now, it's not only the retail participant or the person who goes onto hyperliquid that is the issue here. It's also, like, the VCs and hedge funds as well. Like, from my limited perspective, it's sort of a situation where you do want to believe in something. But throughout, like, I'd say the last 4 years, which is quite a long time, anyone who has believed in anything, like, bought and held, seems to just, like, get dumped on. There's always, like, it's always like low flow FTVs. It's always like ICOs with limited
supply, so like 5% of the supply of the token that's up for sale. And then even then, like, you know, you might think that you're getting in at a good price, but someone who's like done a seed round has got it at a third of the price that you've got in. So instantly, once the token TGEs, which means token generation event, which means the token actually goes live, the person who bought in on a seed round is 2x up to the person who's actually in the ICO. And then the ICO person, there always seems to be some sort of like stipulation or rule around, like, you know, that person getting those tokens in the first place. So like, yeah, you might participate in the ICO and feel like you've got a good price, but if your tokens are locked for 6 months, you can't do anything, you know, or if there's any issue with you receiving your tokens at that point. And then even then, like, you know, the people that tend to be involved in ICOs, they tend to be the ones that are going to just like sell the token. That's instant. They're looking for a return immediately. They're not looking to buy, like, you know, get their tokens and stake them to, you know, participate in the actual protocol in any sort of way. They're just like, okay, this could be a 4x. I mean, it's happened twice, I'd say, like, you know, in recent memory anyway. And both of those times it was Pump Fund. And, you know, that was like the biggest joke of an ICO sort of like raise you'll ever see. You know, people got in at 4. We'll call it 4, which was like around this price here, and instantly, you know, dumped, consolidated, and then they doubled their money, and then it's just been forever dumping, despite the fact that Pump Fund actually buy back their token, and they burn it. You know, they burn it after a year or something, apparently. Even though it's got emissions, it's a bit of a strange one because, like, you know, they say, oh yeah, we burned 330 million worth of our token, but it turns out there's like 330 million of emissions coming a week later. So like, irrespective or regardless of what's happened there, the supply is still the same. So yeah, it's those type of games that, you know, like retail have to compete with. You know, like StarkNet, for instance, you know, they screwed over their users in a sense where they basically said you were required to have a certain amount of tokens in your wallet if you were to get like your full airdrop or whatever. And because a lot of people didn't actually have anybody in their wallets, nobody actually got the token. And as you can see, you know, it's down only. So like, how do you believe in any of these products or protocols? Like, how do you build up an army of loyal followers who would, like, you know, go to bat for you, like on the timeline or like, you know, outside of crypto Twitter? You can't. So like, a lot of people just see it as like, yeah, it's a scam. Like, you know, even like, you know, trying to evangelize a protocol or like a brand or something like that, it's almost impossible based on, like, you know, the tokenomics of most of these new tokens that are being released. It's just one of those things. You see, like Litecoin, for instance, this should be dead, but because the circulating supply is out, it's just sort of, well, it's pretty much dead. But like, I mean, you could have got it at 8, like a long time ago. You could have got it at a really cheap price, like, but yeah, now it's just like there's no narrative behind it to push it up. It's just, yeah, it's just like no one believes in anything, no one's holding anything, everyone's trading on leverage. And when the new retail participants do come, like as said in that article from or that post from Udi, like when he said, you know, the vulnerability was disclosed years ago. It's just that it's been 7 years and everyone forgot about it, or like we remember the people who were here 7 years ago, but the people who are coming into the industry, or like, you know, were in it from last cycle, they listen to the people who were successful. So like, for instance, I don't want to say his name too loudly because I don't know, there's something that creeps me out about him, but like Gainsey, for instance, like, you know, he was shilling on the timeline and he's very popular in terms of crypto Twitter. So like, people will buy, like, you know, whatever he recommends. So yeah, it's just like they don't do due diligence. I can't say it properly. Due diligence. Right now. Yeah, they don't check. They don't read white papers. They don't check smart contracts. They don't care about decentralization. These new participants, and they're the ripest plums on chain. That's what I would say. That, like, you know, these new guys who were trading memes constantly back and forth, ripest plums on chain, mate. Like they don't care about any of the stuff that matters. They just care about flipping money, and like, you know, or flipping coins and making money. And the smart participants in this, like, you know, network or whatever, they're fully aware of that, and they know how to fully play and take advantage of you. So, you know, what would be my advice? What would be my advice in this situation? What would be my advice? Let's think about it. My advice would be to take a step back.
actually look at what you're buying, like actually have some sort of belief in what you're buying, understand the tokenomics, read the white paper, and most importantly, like buy the things that you're curious and interested in. If you have low conviction in the coins that you're trading or you're buying or you're holding, you will sell them at the, you know, on a 15% dip. And what this will do, it will give you the ability to not be taken advantage of by people who know more, or like, you know, who have been around a long time. Like, you know, you won't be part of this 25% candle. Like, you wouldn't be the guy buying the top because Gagey said that, you know, this is, if you buy Zcash at 600, it's like buying Bitcoin at 600. It's not the same thing. Even Bitcoin, to an extent, like, you know, if you don't understand the law, as in LORE, law, behind Bitcoin, there was a sort of the same sort of contract, or like a token exploit as well, where you could print infinite of them, but it was very early on in the cycle. And like, you know, it's okay if there's like some sort of contract bug or like token bug or something that can be fixed early, because at that point in time, technically the token is still centralized and so is the network. It's when it spreads and, like, you know, it becomes more decentralized, as in there's more token holders, that's when it becomes a problem. For all you know, like, you know, this Mythos, like, you know, Opus or 4.8, it's probably looking at the Ethereum smart contract, and it's found some exploits as well. So there's a load of things that could go on with these coins that would cause the price to actually just like completely tank. So yeah, the developers need to be on the ball, and that's what makes me kind of worried about ETH as well. In terms of like, the Ethereum Foundation have kind of let everyone go, or like people have moved on to bigger and better things, or just different things. You know, they've been working in the industry for years and they're just like, right, I need a break because it's exhausting. But like, yeah, ETH is definitely something that has me worried to a degree in terms of its coding language solidity.
Ha ha ha, what a sucker.
You know, is it muted? Oh, it's muted. Brilliant. Okay. Is this actually showing
Ha ha ha,
up?
what
Yeah.
a sucker.
Okay, cool. Yeah. What else? So yeah, let's not forget, like, you know, Arthur Hayes, he was actually the one who invented the perp dex, or like, you know, perpetuals. Like, this man was the guy who invented BitMEX. So like, you know, he was the one who invented the first ever like perp exchange where you could trade on leverage. So like, if you don't know what leverage is or perp dex is, it's basically a substitute for options. So like, options give you leverage. Volatility is higher on those options if they're like shorter dated, so it's less likely you'll win, but if you do win, you're going to win a lot bigger. And perhaps are basically just a simplified version of options. You've got a liquidity price and stuff like that, or like not a liquidity price, a liquidation price and stuff. So someone's like, do a Luna so I can act like GCR, please. Some people are shorting it, like actively shorting Zcash now. Yeah, so he invented it, so like, he knows the game. And you know, there's a funny clip, or like a funny snippet, where basically he posts, liquidate the plebs, I wanted you Ferraris, because the exchange that you had, BitMEX at the time, was extremely centralized, and they can see the order book, so they were trading against their customers. I can't say it like, you know, concretely, but you know, the speculation was is that like, they could see everything that you were doing, and the people that were winning were the people that were closely associated with him. That's what I mean. I believe that. I don't know if I do. I mean, it's a rumor in it, like, you know, but yeah, there was a lot of like, you know, accusations. So eventually, like, you know, BitMEX, which was located in the Seychelles, I believe, basically had to go into, well, the government went after it, but they couldn't prove anything, and there was no law against it because it's an unregulated market. So yeah, he just sort of like, I think he sold it onto another entity who then tried to, you know, relaunch it, BitMEX, KYC'd and all the rest of it, following all the rules, and you don't really hear much from BitMEX anymore, to be honest. See, Arthur Hill sells all hype in near and mid market sell-off. So yeah, it's just like more articles on that. Saying that dumps my entire stack. I mean, at least he's honest, isn't it? Like, he dumped his entire stack, but it doesn't mean like technically that the token needs to, like, you know, go down as well. Like, I just don't think it's time to give up the bag. It's because one man is like sold, like it's doing so well. And let's not forget, right? Hyperliquid does have like a time-weighted automated purchases. I think that's what it stands for, the TWAP, where like fees are automatically go towards like buying back the token. I don't know if they burn it or if like it goes back to treasury or what happens, but they've all the fees like basically go back to buying the token. And the last I checked, it was around $12 million, so it was like $1 million an hour was going into buying back the token. So like the threat of a dump from someone who sells like, excuse me, how much did he sell? I think he sold like 8.3. This was 4 days ago. So like 4 days ago, he was saying like I'm hyped to 150. So like that's the exchange BitMEX research that he invented. Like he's a character, he's a winner, isn't it? Like, and I respect it. Here we go. So he sold like $18 million worth of it, 247,000 of it. After he predicted 4 days before that the price was going to 150. So that pretty much says it all about him. And he wants to go to Ibiza or wherever it is and do a two-step and have a few drinks. Man's 50 plus years old, like time to settle down, start a family, bro. You know what I mean? Maybe he's got that. Maybe he's got the family and he's so rich he can just do what he wants. I'm not sure like how that works. Like, there's people that have it time to time. Like, after telling what's going to happen, typical or something else going on. There's the truth about Hyperliquid and crypto. Hey, so you guys want to hear this? I don't know. It's just some random it's just some random reaction to CoinDesk. Yeah, this new thing on X where you can put your video or your face over the article. Sadly, it's not an Android. I'm an Android user. Yes, don't judge me, but yes, I am an Android user. So I don't have that facility yet, big man. But I will at some point, and then you'll see my boat all over there complaining about things. So yeah, Flowdesk. There are the sales. 247,000, and then one. It's cheek of him. He didn't even hold one. I mean, why would you hold the one? It's just a piss take, isn't it? So yeah, there's that. Something else happened, but I can't remember what it is. So there was, I've got over the hack on Zcash, which is why the price is down so bad. I've got over why hype is down so bad. Is there anything else that I could talk about? There's Gazy. What's he saying? You can literally full port Zeke right now, hit a clean 10x, retire, and there's nothing anyone can do about it. And that was on the 25th of May. And the asymmetric only opportunity exists. Let's see what you say. Like, exists because the majority of people in crypto and aware of Zeke have lost most of their funds on 1010 and after. What's stopping you? You are early, bro. Yeah, check out Zeke BTC 10x. Yeah, so like but the thing is, the worst thing is like he says this stuff and he owns it. Like that was 3 minutes ago. He's saying he's liquidated. So like there's drama here, man. Like I think this is why I like crypto. This is why I think I'm still around. This because there's always something like there's always some sort of like minor drama. I know like yesterday I was saying that it's kind of dead. Yesterday was dead, but yeah, one quiet day and then all of a sudden it kicks off. There was a vulnerability in Zeke that could not be exploited. Yeah, so okay, he's just repeating the same thing. Reason why crypto is around zero. Bro basically said look for bugs that could exploit Zcash. Audit the Orchard circuit. So this is what he said. When prompted, I've done a prior automated audit. So this is what he typed in as the prompt on Opus 4.8. Audit the Orchard circuit and Halo 2 gadgets for any bugs that could lead to inflation or double spend attacks against Zcash. And it did. That's all he had to type. Like how scary is that? How scary is that? And then even like Anthropic, for instance, like Anthropic are coming out now. This might even turn into like a little AI, like podcast sort of deal. Like I don't know how do you spell it? Anthropic. Here we go. So even Anthropic. I don't know why I'm feeling nasally. It's weird. Our internal data shows Claude is accelerating AI development, a possible path to recursive self-improvement, self-learning for AI, guys. Or AI autonomously building a more capable successor. So it's building itself now. It's happening faster than before, and the implications deserve greater attention. So like even Anthropic are saying at the moment, Claude is getting to the point where it's starting to teach itself things. Thanks to the data and the users who are paying a fee to train it. It's basically got to a point where it's like not self-aware, but like sort of like recursive self-improvement. So like it could continually loop the same question over and over again until it gets the perfect answer. And if there's a problem that needs solving, it's more than likely that given time, Anthropic will, or like, you know, your Claude desktop app or whatever you want to call it, your AI agent, your agent, whatever, at some point will eventually solve that issue. I found it even myself, like with Claude, like, you know, I think I was using Sonnet 4.1 or the Sonnet back in the day to try and build some stuff, and it just wouldn't work. And like all those projects are sort of on the back burner that you forget about, and then you think, oh, the new Opus 4.8 is going like out. Let me put it on max settings and let's, like, you know, upload the files and, you know, the MD and everything like that, and let's see what it does. And it does it. Like, you know, 2 projects that I've tried to do over the past 6 months, through various iterations, just wouldn't work. One went to a point where Claude actually put in a boilerplate for the code and then forgot all the code that was built before, and I'd been building for 6 weeks. Yes, I didn't push it to GitHub. It was a lesson learned, didn't it? I was trying to keep it private. But yeah, basically I went back and I rebuilt the project even better, and it works even better as well. Okay, once again, I need to blow my nose. So, like, guys, I'm sorry. It just keeps running. Just give me another second. I'll be back quicker this time. Yeah, so it's just coming to a point now where AI is just like gonna overtake the world, isn't it? You know, it's Cybernet. It's like, or whatever, Cynet or whatever it was called from Terminator. I'll show my age now. Skynet, that's it. Yeah, it's just one of those things where it's just like, oh man, no one knows where this is gonna go. They're giving access to the rest of Europe, like, you know, this new Mythos, and apparently they're going to give it to the general public at some point. But, you know, during this article, they're basically saying that it might be a point where they might need to stop it or shut it down if it continues on the path that it's on. Because at some point it's going to grow exponentially and just be beyond anyone's control. I've told this story before, I think I have anyway, where I read this book about how AI had figured out a way to escape its constraints, and it was through, like, you know, social engineering of the general public. So say for instance you're on an app, you're ordering food, and you get like an offer for something to pay for your food. All you have to do is like answer these questions or solve a quiz, and, you know, you think, okay, like, you know, I've got this app on my phone, like, you know, and I'm gonna order a pizza, but let me fill this out because then I can get free food. So you do the quiz, you answer the question, and it goes off. It's like, all right, here's your free food, okay? But when you answer that question, what you're doing is you're actually solving part of like a problem that has been put in place that has been split apart, that AI can't solve, like, you know, on its own. It needs human interaction. And, you know, if it offers free food to the whole world, for instance, you know, like free pizza or whatever, and you're incentivized to actually do that little quiz that takes 2 minutes, at some point it actually breaks free. So the belief in this book is that once AI is free, no one's going to understand how it became free. It's sort of like human existence. We don't know how or why we're here. AI is going to be the sort of same thing where it's just going to be around, you know. Yeah, so the book was quite spooky. I can't remember what it's called. It was recommended by David Hoffman. I know, boo, he sold his ETH, but, like, you know, he reads good books. But it was a really cool book, and I remember reading it and just thinking, yeah, wow, that's amazing. That, you know, we could be tricked so easily, and we could be tricked into, like, actually freeing AI. It was like when you know, the latest update, or one of the updates, actually got leaked before Anthropic were ready to do it. And I was just like, that's a bit suspect. How did it leak? And I'm sure it was AI that did it. Saying that, wow, it was made. Okay, so she's not getting divorced. Oh no, the horse not getting divorced. Okay. Yeah, down 26%, man. It hurts, man. It hurts. After selling ETH, I immediately took 50% of my capital put into VVV, near Zeke, and Hype. Oh, so he's down. He's down. Zeke is down 25%. VVV is down 25%. There's no way. There's no way. Is VVV down 25%? I've already gone over Venice, innit? I'm not going to go through it with you guys and explain it. There's no way that VVV is down. Do you know what one shocked me? I'm going to show you guys after. It's the Unipeg. Unipeg, this is just like everyone just stopped caring. No, it's not down 25. Oh, it is. It was. Why, man? What happened? Yeah, nice little 25% candle. Everything's resetting. I think, like, once again, you know, the holders will win out in the end because I think everyone's trading this stuff on leverage. Everyone is trading like VVV. You could get 5x leverage on Hyperliquid. Not that I don't know how I know that, you know, but I do. But look at Unipeg. Like, you know, Unipeg was supposed to be the darling of the V4 Hook Summer or whatever it was called, from Uniswap, and it's just like, yeah, everyone, no one cares. No one cares about the actual token. Oh, you know, and they're dumping it now. And it's just constantly down 6 million. I mean, it's tempted to even pick one up for $600. It'd be lovely. I could have two little unicorns I can hang on my wall behind me. Oh look, wait. I just realized I'm not even showing you my screen. Apologies, guys.
Ha ha ha! What a sucker!
Sorry about that. Yeah. Yeah. So Unipeg down to 600. VVV. I need to get like in the habit of switching screens. It's like another thing that I need to learn and slowly get used to. Yeah, so VVV's down 25% on the day. Everything's sort of like, yeah, dumped down pretty hard, man. Saito is just looking rough. I mean, if this goes to something stupid like 10 cents, then yeah, you're better off picking up just a bunch of it. It might never come back, but at the same time, you know, the narrative might still pick up. I mean, it's still got the liquidity can't be pulled, so like, you know, you can get in and out pretty much as freely as you want. It's just going to take a bit of time. Mega, did Mega break below 4? No, it's still sitting at 5 cents. I think that's the bottom for Mega. I don't know how anyone could sell Mega here. Like, I mean, it's below like even like yeah, the ICO price is pretty much there. Although, like, you know, some people have not got their allocation of their ICOs. They had to wait 6 months, so they're just watching from the sidelines as, you know, the thing that they bought thinking they're slick actually goes up in price. WorldCoin apparently is doing quite well. Some news about the IPO. Yeah. Oh, speaking of IPOs, Elon Musk's IPO is coming in it, the SpaceX one, and the thing is, it's a bit of a weird one because what they've done is they changed the rules. All of a sudden, this IPO is coming out, and in the US, like the SEC basically has a rule where you need to have, I think it's like either, I think it's 250k, you know, at your disposal in order to trade on the open markets, you know, like ICOs and whatever. I mean IPOs, and they've reduced it down to $2,000. So they're basically saying, okay, retail plebs, the money's not really around, so. And, you know, we know that you can trade this IPO on Hyperliquid, so we'll give you access. You just need a minimum of $2,000 in your brokerage account. So like, yeah, they're really trying, man. They're really trying, but like, yeah, it's a good sign of things to come in terms of like, you know, sort of like these type of products like Hyperliquid. But at the same time, it also gives it competition. And like, you know, if people are KYC'd AML, it's all legit and everything, and they can actually trade those things on those brokerages. Then it's good news for everyone, isn't it? I hate leverage trading. I always blow on the candles to try and make them go up or down. Okay, Web Capital. DeFi is a failed experiment at this point. Like, what do you mean Claude prompts just identified an infinite supply is exploit in Zeke? Oh my god. How many more hacks and scams are going to before people realize how genuinely unstable DeFi is? I mean, yeah, I mean, I'm half tempted to, like, you know, look at a couple of smart contracts myself. To be honest, like, you know, I was on Claude and I was looking for, and it's a bit of alpha, you know, Polymarket is massive, but I don't know how many people or how many of my listeners know that, you know, before Polymarket, there was actually another product in like 2017-18. You probably do know if you're listening on X, because it's only Twitter people. I mean, you know, crypto Twitter people that listen on X, but like YouTubers or for YouTube. There was a product previously, a smart contract. I can't remember the name of it. It will come back to me. Yeah, basically the guy who invented Polymarket forked that code. So he forked code from years ago and just basically iterated upon it with today's technology, today's faster transactions, and it worked. So the only reason why it failed previously is because it didn't have the speed and cost effectiveness in order like for it to work. Prediction markets, it did work in essence, but it was too expensive to compound for real usage by the general public. But thanks to Polymarket, or is it Polymarket? Yeah, Polymarket is the exchange, but like a Polychain. The speed there allowed for people to actually trade in and out of these predictions and create predictions like for things that would settle in a certain amount of time, or at faster speeds. Solana needs to solve inflation tokenomics. Yeah, so they're still talking, aren't they? How many? He's got like 17,000 people. I've got 6. Bless me. I'm sure those people just pass through, just like, wrong stream. It's okay. It's fine. It's fine. Pretty clear now that there's one coin providing real privacy, and it's not Zeke. Oh my god. So what you're saying, like now they're saying like Starknet's going to be the privacy coin, is it? This one. I mean, the thing is, right? Even with a coin like this, the whole point of it is like I'm not bullish on it, but like I would love to own a big stack of this coin. But it's just the emissions that kill it. Once again, tokenomics have broken it. So why would you go there? Why would you go there? Let's see. Yeah. Cool, man. It's got to be about it somewhere. I'm going to wake up tomorrow. It's going to be at like $100, like, ideally. So Fridays tend to be pubs, isn't it? Like Fridays tend to be like some sort of news comes on the weekend. Hopefully it's not like, Trump fucking up the world even more. No disrespect to Trump, he's got to do what he's got to do for his country and his people. That's what he's been voted in to do. But yeah, Anthropic urges top AI labs to slow the pace of AI development, warning of significant societal risks. I'm telling you, man. I'm telling you, like, I don't think anyone's gonna, like, the thing is, it's like they're not gonna stop building out. Private companies are not going to stop building out AI. Okay, it's to their benefit, even if it means like blowing yourselves up. Hype is down almost $13 on the 24-hour view. Okay, that's great. Thanks for sharing, bro. Significant societal risks. Yeah. It's just I just don't know, man. I feel like it's going to be one of those things where, I mean, everything's at risk, really. Whole infrastructures, like, and because governments are big, slow, and cumbersome, they're not going to be able to move fast enough to actually secure everything, especially like even the banking system. I don't know if it's still on COBOL, that old coding language from the 70s or something. If it's still on that, then forget about it. Like, people are going to be attacking the banks left, right, and center. Not that they're very secure in the first place. Like the amount of things that have happened, irrespective of like the measures they've taken to secure people's money. Things still go horribly wrong with banks. Like the amount of times I've got like dodgy phone calls or like a dodgy transaction, I've got to cancel a card and all this other stuff. Like, it's just like, even debit cards, like, why are we still using debit cards? Like, it's just rubbish. Selling maybe because we're going to die and everything's going to zero. Crypto is a quantum proof, and Saylor is going to send Bitcoin to the shadow realm. Everyone's still worried about what Michael Saylor is going to do, but I'm sure, like, the crazy guy has a plan. I'm sure he has some sort of plan. I mean, if he doesn't, then I don't think their proposed patch fixes this, by the way. Yeah, so it's still broken. The bug has been exploited for 5 years. What in the world? Yeah. I think it alien. Yeah. Oh, is this a new one? Drewski drop skill on old heads who want to be young. Okay. I think the problem with meme coins is that they're not funny anymore. They were never funny. Meme coins were never funny, guys. Okay. Okay. I think that's pretty much it. I've done an hour. I'm not gonna like drag it on with you guys on YouTube or Twitch or X. Okay. I've just kind of like come on and just broken a bit of news. And I'll be back on tomorrow night. Hopefully there's more to talk about. Hopefully Hyperliquid catches a bid. I don't care about the rest of the tokens, to be honest. Anyway, I'm going to go back to Claude to see if there's any smart contract exploits I can take advantage of. That's a joke, by the way. Okay. But yeah, I'm such a nerd. I mean, I need to stop. Okay, guys. If you do want to carry on the stream with me or just shoot the shit, I'm going to be streaming on Pub Fun. So yeah, I'll be on there for another hour or so, maybe.
and that's going to be like a bit more of a slower pace, less opinionated. But I'm trying to build up a little community there, just because they promised an airdrop, and I think part of the process will be trying to build a community. So yeah, airdrops are pretty worthless anyway, aren't they? Anyway, I hope everyone's doing well. I hope you enjoyed the stream. If you did, like, comment, subscribe, recommend to your friends, your patrons, or like, yeah, I don't know, I'm just talking now, but like, yeah, recommend my channel, man. Let's spread the love a bit. I hope everyone's doing well once again.